This is Monica Conforti, Senior Associate Dean of the Office of Graduate Admission here at Hofstra. I'm joined by two fabulous presenters from our Special Education Faculty Department today, and we'll get started shortly. I'm going to hand over to them. Again, if you have any questions throughout the program, please type those into your chat box on the left-hand side of the screen, and we'll certainly address them either as they weave through the program or towards the end. So feel free to type them as they come to head. We'll start off here today with Dr. Diane Schwartz.
Hello, everybody. We're here to tell you today about a very, very exciting program. I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Stephen Hernandez, and together we've created two very exciting programs that are nationally recognized and are funded by the federal government. Here's Dr. Hernandez.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Schwartz, for your introduction. So as the screen shows, we would like to talk to you today about grant-supported studies in early childhood special education. As you can see on your screen, we have a lot of great students here at Hofstra, and if you are an individual interested in working with young children with disabilities, some great opportunities await you. Now on the next screen here, you see that IDs at Work, the Office of Special Education Programs, the U.S. Department of Education logo. And just this month, September of 2015, the United States Department of Education and the Department of Health issued a policy statement regarding inclusion of children with disabilities in early childhood programs. And they state that all young children with disabilities should have access to inclusive, high-quality early childhood programs. And with that in mind, the United States Department of Education has issued grants totaling $2.5 million to Hofstra University to prepare students to become early childhood special educators. So that is providing us with a significant amount of money to help offset the cost of graduate studies for individuals like yourself. I'm going to pass the phone over to Dr. Schwartz.
There are two distinct programs, but both programs lead to certification to work with children from birth to second grade. One program is called Hyssop. That stands for Hofstra Early Childhood Interdisciplinary Professionals Program. And that program is for people with no previous background and no education courses who might be interested in a change of career or is just starting out after their bachelor's degree and really are intended to address people who want to work with young children with disabilities. We have another program called Hyssop.
The Hyssop program stands for the Hofstra Early Childhood Intervention Specialist Program, and that is intended for individuals who have undergraduate degrees in childhood or early childhood education and who are certified in New York State or are eligible for certification in the field. The Hyssop program prepares individuals to become early childhood special educators, as well as individuals who then have applied behavioral analysis as a specialty in their background. Our program, again, it combines a master's degree in early childhood special education along with an advanced certificate in applied behavior analysis.
Both programs, as you can see, lead to two types of certification. The Hyssop program, which is for people with no previous background, is a 48-credit dual certification program. In New York State, you cannot be a special education teacher unless you already have general education certification. So this program combines both programs so that when you complete it, you have certification in both early childhood special education and early childhood education. Both programs look at atypical and typical students and involve research-based best practice and informal assessment, as well as collaboration with the various stakeholders, including parents and related service providers such as occupational therapists, speech therapists, and physical therapists. The program is an interdisciplinary program, that's why it has that name, and it incorporates coursework in various different disciplines.
Whereas the Hyssop program, as I mentioned, is for individuals who already have certification or eligible certification in early childhood or childhood. This is a 45 credit program that again prepares individuals for positions as early childhood special educators, as well as provides them in-depth training in applied behavior analysis. So studies provide students with all of the knowledge, the skills, and the values needed to work effectively as early interventionists with children birth through age 5 and their families, as well as to serve early childhood special educators with children through the 2nd grade. Students will specialize in applied behavior analysis and its use with young children with disabilities. This coursework for the Applied Behavioral Analysis Advanced Certificate fulfills the educational requirement to become a behavior analyst through the Behavior Analyst Certification Board.
So you might be asking yourself, which program is best for me? Well, if you have no certification and you have no previous background, then you should be concentrating on the Hyssop program. If you are certified, then the program for you is Hyssop. The remuneration from the federal government is 16 credits in the Hyssop program, which represents 33% of the course expense. And in the Hyssop program, it's 18 of 45 credits, or 40% of the tuition required. But in addition to that, Hofstra University offers fellowships, and there's a Teach Grant and many other ways to receive additional financial help. Students are also eligible for departmental scholarships and can apply for additional federal aid.
So as you can see, there are some significant financial opportunities that are available to students if they are admitted into this program. Both programs have a number of different components to it that I'd like to highlight here. One, the plans of study combine both face-to-face as well as online classroom instruction, including site-based coursework that occurs, as well as field experiences that occur in the field. Fieldwork and supervision occurs in selected community-based partner sites where we integrate theory as well as practice. There is continuous mentoring and advisement provided to each and every student throughout the program, and students can complete the programs in 2 years. Both programs provide the skills necessary to work with young children with disabilities and their families, and it focuses on serving young children across the full range of disabilities: mild, moderate, severe, and multiple. The Hyssop program leads to dual certification in early childhood as well as early childhood special education, whereas the Hyssop program, again, because you're already coming into that program with certification in childhood or early childhood, then leads to certification in early childhood special education, along with a specialization in applied behavior analysis.
Conceptual framework for all programs in the special education cluster involves several important pieces. One of them is universal design for learning and technology, which is a way of providing access for all learners. There's a culturally responsive teaching underlying all courses. Collaborative partnerships are critical because early childhood special educators work on an interdisciplinary team with related service providers. Diagnosis and assessment is also critical in terms of figuring out who is eligible for services, and also is a way of predicting how that student will do in the future. And again, one of our features is applied behavior analysis, a technique that's used successfully with children on the autism spectrum, as well as children with cognitive disabilities and behavioral disorders.
We are also very proud of the clinically rich experiences that our programs provide. Students in the program, they engage in placements in a variety of settings, including our community partners, the Developmental Disabilities Institute, Starting Early program, the Millneck Manor Early Childhood Center, as well as the Genesis Eden 2 schools on Long Island. Students will complete a minimum of 100 hours of field placement with young children with disabilities, and the School of Education Office of Field Placement, as well as our faculty, Dr. Schwartz and myself, assist in the placement of students in their clinical experiences.
The field experience are designed so that you work in similar classrooms over time, and that allows for a lot of mentoring and support for your program. The grant recipients typically work as a cohort group because they follow the same sequence of study. Hofstra University has provided many people in the field of special education since 1965, so there's a lot of opportunities to network in the field and to network with your peers. We advise all our students so that your plan of study is very clear to you, and even beyond leaving Hofstra, we continue to provide advisement.
Now you might say, okay, great, those grants are fantastic. All of the scholarship support is great. Well, what about getting a job when I am done? Well, you probably have all been hearing about the growth of universal pre-K in New York State, especially in New York City and on Long Island, and that is mirroring what we're seeing throughout the country. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that there will be a 21% increase in early childhood special education job opportunities through 2020. Graduates of our program enjoy careers in a variety of settings as educators, and if you are a graduate of the Hyssop program, as a behavior analyst. You can work in a home-based early intervention setting. You can be what they call a community-based SEED or a special education itinerant teacher. You can work as a teacher in a special education preschool classroom, and you can also work in public and private schools in grades kindergarten through grade 2. So the jobs are there. We are very, very proud that all of our graduates from the spring of 2015 all have jobs. They have jobs as teachers throughout the Long Island and New York City area, and we see that trend continuing for many years to come.
So you might be saying, should I apply? Well, if you're interested in working with young children with disabilities and their family, I believe that these two programs will offer you the kind of training that you need to be professionally successful. One of the things that the grant requires is that you make a commitment to work in the field for 2 years of service for every year that you receive the grant funding. When they say working in the field, it means that you're working with young children with disabilities, which is your career path, and will continue to move you along. If you have a hiatus, you can continue. You have a certain amount of years before you have to complete that service.
So, as you can see here, the application requirements are pretty straightforward. You complete an application form online at that hofstra.edu/gradapply site. Again, to reiterate, the Hyssop program requires a bachelor's degree in liberal arts, including completion of the general education core prerequisites. And the Hyssop program requires individuals to possess initial or professional certification in childhood or early childhood in New York State, or be eligible for that and have that completed upon admission. We look for a GPA of 3.0, as well as 3 letters of recommendation addressing your potential to succeed, and those are submitted directly by the individuals who are providing the references. We also require a written personal statement of professional intent from the applicants, and then that is completed with an interview with a faculty member in the special education department.
So just to recap the grant support, the Hyssop program has a 48-credit dual initial certification program. It's for people that are not previously certified. Your undergraduate degree has to have a liberal arts core. 16 credits of the tuition remission is provided, that's 1/3, and graduates will then be prepared for New York State certification in early childhood education and early childhood special education.
And whereas the Hyssop scholarship program, again, it's a 45-credit program that leads to the MSED in special education, early childhood intervention. It's for students who are previously certified in early childhood or childhood education. Again, an undergraduate or graduate degree in education is required. You receive 18 credits of tuition remission, and graduates are then prepared for New York State certification in early childhood special education, and the program fulfills the educational requirements for the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. So for more information, you can contact either one of us. Again, Dr. Stephen Hernandez at stephen.j.hernandez@hofstra.edu, or Dr. Diane Schwartz at diane.c.schwartz@hofstra.edu. Our email and phone numbers are there, as well as the website to apply to the program. Let me hand the phone over to Dr. Schwartz for some concluding thoughts.
So we're very excited about these grant opportunities, and we hope that if you have a passion to work with young children with disabilities and their families, you will find that these programs will give you all the professional preparation that you need to be successful in the career. The reason that the federal government has awarded this kind of granting is because they recognize the high quality of our programs here at Hofstra, and we hope you will take advantage of this opportunity.
So without further ado, we will open up our opportunity for questions right now. So you can type those in on the left-hand side. As a general note about the application process, you can get started at the link on your screen, hofstra.edu/grad-apply. And once you choose the Hofstra University graduate application, you'll be able to choose from various degree programs at the master's, advanced certificate, and doctoral level. You'll note that the programs we discussed today are the MSED in Inclusive Early Childhood Special Education. That will be coordinated with the Hyssop grant for folks who have not yet been certified, or the MSED in Special Education Early Childhood Intervention, which is associated with the Hyssop grant, and again provides certified teachers with a certification in early childhood special education, as well as the coursework associated with the BACB. So again, without further ado, you can now type in questions. We see them slowly coming in. So I guess the very first one would be, can I apply for spring entry to the program, and when are applications due?
Yes, you can apply for a spring entry into the program. The earlier you submit your application for review, the better. And the reason for that is our grant programs have a limited number of slots that are available for funding. We have, between the two grants, almost 100 funding slots available for students in the two programs. So again, the earlier you apply, the quicker your application can be reviewed, and if you meet the admission requirements, you can be admitted in the program and be provided with the tuition remission that is available to you. Again, those that wait until late in the application process and apply before the semester begins might be admitted into the program, but may not be eligible for tuition remission right away. We have a question here. Is there a special education program for third grades and above? So yes, we have a program that is provides for certification at what we call the childhood level. I'm going to put Dr. Schwartz on the phone, and she can explain that a little bit more.
Special education in New York State is divided into 3 developmental areas. Early childhood is birth through 2nd grade, childhood is 1st through 6th grade, and adolescent is 7 through 12. The special education program has available programs at all 3 different developmental levels. Although we came today to talk to you about the grant opportunities, the elementary or the childhood special education program, while not granted, has also some scholarship money available, and that would enable you to work with children in special education grades 1 through 6.
All right, and certainly you can contact Dr. Schwartz or Dr. Hernandez to find out who best to speak with about our childhood or elementary or at the secondary/adolescent level. So next question's coming in. One is, can I apply for scholarships outside of Hofstra through private programs? So I'll comment here quickly that, of course, external scholarships can be applied to your studies here at Hofstra. We encourage students to file for federal aid through the FAFSA program, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, as early as possible. And that's certainly something that you can do before applying to Hofstra, during, or after being accepted. And that would give you your eligibility for federal funding programs, as well as essentially be your first step towards exploring other options like our Teach Grant and Hagedorn Fellowship. And you can call the number for application support 516-463-4723 right there on the screen for more information about scholarship opportunities outside of these two grant programs. Of course, proactive students who find those supports can certainly work to have them applied to their Hofstra degree study. And we can talk more about that on a one-on-one basis to be sure that it's eligible for your plan of study. Another question that we have here: are the 100 observational hours included in the 18 credits that the grant covers?
Yes, the field hours, the 100 observational hours, are associated with individual classes. So, for example, if you're taking a class in autism spectrum disorders, you would spend some time at the Genesis School or another one of our sites to work with children with that disability. And those hours become part of the class, and those are the classes that you would receive grant support from. So the answer to that is yes.
The next question, relatively simple: can I finish either program in less than 2 academic years?
You can finish either one of the two programs in 2 years. Finishing them in less than 2 years is not possible, but definitely within 2 years. So if you were to start the program, let's say in the fall of next year, the programs are set up where you would take 3 courses in the fall, a course in January, 3 courses in the spring, 2 courses in the summer, followed by another 3 courses, and then you have another spring semester, and then student teaching in a summer session. So you can finish both programs in 2 years, and then be ready for the job market and take advantage of all the opportunities that are available to you, in the field.
Another question that's come up: am I able to complete an extension in history while completing the special education program? So I'll comment generally here. Typically, students who are seeking this degree program, again, would be focused and considered full-time as they are enrolled in either graduate degree program. Typically, seeking extensions, in this area in particular in history, folks might work directly with New York State or enroll themselves in a program that's attracted to social studies education. So Dr. Schwartz will comment a bit more on that as well.
That extension applies to the special education program at the adolescent or secondary school developmental level. So yes, it is part of that program, but it really does not relate to early childhood special education.
Another question that's come up: how do I send my transcripts electronically? So I'll comment briefly here that while proceeding through the online application, you'll know exactly where you've attended for all post-secondary schools. So undergraduate work, if you've done graduate work in the past, and as you indicate each institution, it will require that you upload some kind of a document associated with your courses and course grades. So any document that you have at home, either unofficial or official, can be scanned into the application, and that will be required in order to click submit. If you have issues receiving transcripts electronically, you can certainly request them through previous institutions, or it is possible to have them sent directly to Hofstra. You'll just need to make a note to our admissions office that you'd like this to be included in your application materials. So it's possible. But if you have access to a current transcript online, if you have copies at home that have been previously accepted, those we would prefer that you scan them into the application so that it facilitates the process for Dr. Hernandez and Dr. Schwartz to be able to see that work that you have done. Similarly, for references, these are folks that you'll indicate their electronic contact in the application, so their email address, and you'll, of course, have requested previously that this is okay with them, and then they'll receive instructions from Hofstra on how to upload their letters and provide commentary on your potential. So Hofstra does not accept letters of reference that are mailed to the university.
Another question just came in. As a full-time student, can I also be working? Most of our students are working during the day and take courses in the evening, and they're able to do that because our courses go 4:30 to 6:20 and 6:30 to 8:20. So I would say that most of our students are working in schools as teacher assistants or some sort of related field to special education during the program.
Carolyn from the Bronx has another question, and she asks, I'm currently in an MFA program, and would that impact in any way on me qualifying for the program? Carolyn, you would be eligible if you do not have a certification in childhood or early childhood. You would be eligible for the Hyssop program, the Hofstra Early Childhood Interdisciplinary Professionals program. Again, that's for individuals who do not have any background in education. And having Masters of Fine Arts does not preclude you from being able to apply and be admitted into the Hyssop program. So, no, it would not.
Okay, another question that has come in. How quickly will I receive a decision on my application?
Well, once an application is fully completed, and that includes everything that we discussed earlier, including the letters of reference, that we are then notified that the application is complete, and we look to schedule an appointment within a week or two. Pretty much as soon as you're able to come in, we're able to meet with you, and then a decision is reached generally in a very short period of time after that. There's also another question that asks, is there separate documentation that needs to be completed in order to receive the grants, to be eligible for the grants? There isn't a separate application for receiving the grant funds, but there is separate documentation that grant recipients need to complete. Basically, it's documentation that shows that you are receiving the grant funds, and as a result of that, you understand that there is the need to work in the field for a certain number of years afterwards. So that is the only other separate documentation that needs to be completed, but that is completed once an individual has been accepted into the program.
Another question, how many people do you typically accept to the program? So this can depend, but I will have Dr. Schwartz answer as well.
The Hyssop program is funded for 47 students, and the Hyssop program grant is funded for 51 students. There's opportunities for close to 100 students to receive this kind of support. But as Dr. Hernandez said, we encourage you to apply as soon as possible because there is a limited number at the end. Thank you.
And certainly those numbers are spread out across the life of the grant, so there are a limited number of seats per semester. Another question, since I'm in the dual program from birth to 6, will I qualify for the Hyssop instead?
Yes, because you're going to complete a program that results in you having an undergraduate degree in early childhood and childhood, and then as a result become certified in New York State as a teacher in the early childhood as well as childhood domain. You will qualify for the Hyssop program. So those that are in the Hyssop program graduate again with a master's degree in early childhood special education as well as the advanced certificate in applied behavior analysis. So anybody who has that kind of background is perfect for the Hyssop program. But again, if you do not have an undergraduate degree in childhood or early childhood, or you are not certified in those areas, then the Hyssop program is appropriate for you. So regardless as to your individual background, we have 2 programs that are grant funded that can accomplish what hopefully all of you are interested in doing, and that is becoming early childhood special educators.
A quick note for folks regarding New York State certification. If at this time you expect to be certified in New York State prior to graduate study, that's what we'll consider folks who have certification in their background. If you have a certification outside of New York in another U.S. state, certainly contact our office because it's possible to apply for New York State certification to move your current cert and then qualify for the Hyssop program. So that's something that we can discuss on a more one-on-one basis. So again, something that we should probably chat about with faculty, or you can call in at a separate time. Another question we see in a different realm is how do I apply for graduate assistantships? So this isn't something we necessarily spoke about directly during today's presentation, but there are opportunities to work for Hofstra University as a graduate student and receive compensation in a matter of hourly stipends or possibly tuition or mission. So those are opportunities that you can see and apply for after being accepted to various programs, and they again can be offered throughout Hofstra University, but something to consider would be your hourly availability, because we want to make sure that your field placements and your dedication to the program does come first. But those are things that accepted students can explore on a more one-on-one basis after, again, they have been decisioned for the program.
Another question regards field work and students who are coming from another country and might be interested in doing some of the field work in their home. Special arrangements and accommodations have been made in the past for students to do some of their field work in their native country, and that would be something that we could advise you about in the future.
We also have a few questions relating to work-life or school-life balance. And as Dr. Schwartz said earlier, majority of the courses that are offered face-to-face during the fall and the spring are scheduled either at 4:30 or at 6:30. But again, we have a large number of courses that are hybrid, meaning some of the classes are face-to-face and some of the classes are online, and that obviously gives all of the students a lot of flexibility in when they are able to attend to coursework. But I hear from a lot of students, can I go to graduate school and still work full-time? Well, one, because the courses are offered in the late afternoon or early evening, and or because they're online. That is definitely one facet of the program that makes it conducive to working during the day. And we have many individuals who have been full-time employees, teachers, teacher assistants, or in other fields who are attending graduate programs here. So don't feel that graduate education is not possible for you if you are working full-time. It's definitely possible.
All right, we do have a couple other questions coming in that I'll ask that Dr. Hernandez and Dr. Schwartz address following the presentation, so we can work that out through email and phones. Some of them are more geared towards particular application backgrounds, things like that. In general, of course, today we've done an overview of both grant programs that fund 2 master's degrees. The special education faculty, as Dr. Schwartz mentioned, offer programs in each developmental level, as well as advanced certificate work that we would be happy to answer your questions about if you find that there might be something with a better fit. So we're happy to answer questions, again, like our advanced certificate in gifted education, severe and multiple. So there's many, many programs that we'd be happy to speak with you about on a more one-to-one basis. Beyond that, again, we are so glad that you could join us today. I'll wrap with one final question for our presenters, and I just want to hear from them because I think it really speaks to the passion behind the program. What do you love most about working with students at this developmental age with disabilities, and what's been your favorite thing about working with them?
Well, my background outside of working here at Hofstra has been as a school administrator and as a classroom instructor for over 25 years. And working with young children and working with young children with differing abilities has been a passion of mine. I find it to be incredibly rewarding. You are able to really make significant change in children's and families' lives by working with young children in general, especially young children with special needs. And now that I'm in this role here at Hofstra, I have the ability to impart my knowledge and facilitate the growth and development of the new generation of teachers, like hopefully all of you will be with us. I'm going to pass the phone over to Dr. Schwartz now.
It was only 40 years ago when young children with disabilities were put into institutions, and over the course of my career, I've seen those children come more and more into the mainstream, and it's joyful for me to see all children being together, especially when children with disabilities can be with their non-disabled peers. And I think that if you join this field, you will feel that joy as well. It's important, and we can make a difference in the life of a young child with a disability. So I think for me that is the greatest reward.
All right, so thank you both so much for being here today with us and sharing your love for the field and, of course, these fabulous opportunities for our students, again, to be able to be supported in this venture, I think is so important. Thank you all for attending today. You have, of course, our email addresses of our presenters, the contact for the Office of Graduate Admission, and we welcome requests for appointments to meet with Dr. Schwartz or Dr. Hernandez, and you'll see that note right there, 516-463-5968. That's our Department of Specialized Programs in Education. And Marjorie in the main office there will help schedule appointments with our faculty. So we welcome that, absolutely. We want to make sure that you're as informed as possible as creating your graduate application. And our number, the Office of Graduate Admission, is the second one there. We look forward to receiving your application materials and in talking with you further. And again, helping you along this journey. Thank you so much and take care.